we have a word problem, and we're going to have to take this word problem and put it into algebra. So it says the sum, which means adding, of a number, and the square of the number is 20. So I don't know what that number is. I'm going to call it x. You could call it n. And it says the sum of the number and the number squared is 20. So we recognize this as a quadratic equation. How do we solve a quadratic equation? We need to use the zero product property, and the zero product property only works if one side is 0. I like to keep my x squared positive, so I'm going to keep my x squared and x on the left side. I'm going to move my 20 over by subtracting 20. Now I have a quadratic, and I've made it equal to 0. Let's check if we can factor. Well, if we're going to get an x squared as my first ones, it's going to have to be x and x. And if my last one's a minus 20, I've got a bunch of options. 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. Check your outside and inside. We need it to be 1. I'm pretty sure 1 and 20 is not going to work. But 4 and 5, if you subtracted, could give you 1. I need a plus 1. So I would need my 5 to be plus 5, my inside minus 4. Double check. Do we still get minus 20 for the last one? Yes. And now I've changed it to multiplication. So the zero product property says, well, if two things are multiplied and they're equal to 0, either the first one has to be 0, in which case x would have to be a 4. Or the second one could be 0, in which case x would have to be a negative 5. And again, you do not need to verify, but you can if you want to. If I square this, 16 plus 4, yes. If I square this, negative 5 squared is positive 25 plus the negative 5 gets me back to 20 as well. They both work. Questions for practice on this one? Circle 16, 17, 19, and 20.